Hey, I'm Stan. Before my career finally settled down, I bounced through a lot of jobs, a whole stack of gigs, a little art studio in Chicago that went under, and I didn't land my first real steady job until my late 30s, which means I've got retirement accounts scattered at employers I can barely remember. A while back, it hit me that I honestly had no idea what happened to the 401k money at half of those old jobs, so I finally went digging and I found an account I had completely forgotten existed. Turns out I'm not special. Americans have left about $2.1 trillion sitting in forgotten 401ks. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to check whether any of that money is yours and how to grab it back. So let's go open some old doors.
Marcus is 41, and he finds it on a Saturday morning, cleaning out a junk drawer. An envelope. From a company he hasn't worked at in 9 years. Inside, there's one sheet of paper with his name on it, a plan number he doesn't recognize, and a balance he never knew existed. He stands there in his kitchen while his coffee goes cold, thinking the exact thing you might be thinking right now. Wait. I have money there? He does. And he is nowhere near alone. As of 2025, Americans have about $2.1 trillion sitting in forgotten, left behind 401k accounts. Say that number slowly. $2.1 trillion. It's spread across roughly 32 million accounts. 32 million little piles of retirement money that got separated from their owners somewhere along the way. And here's the proportion that stopped me cold when I first read it. That's about $1 in $4 of all the 401k money in this country. 25%. A quarter of America's workplace retirement savings isn't with the workers anymore. It's back at the old jobs, sitting exactly where it was left. Some of it may be yours. That's not a scare line. That's just the odds. And for the next few minutes, I want to walk you through how this happens, what it quietly costs you, and exactly how to find out. Because this is one of the very few money problems where the fix might be a pile of cash with your own name already on it. So how does anyone forget tens of thousands of dollars? You'd never forget a wallet with that kind of money in it. Here's how it happens. Picture your career as a long hallway. Every job you've ever had is a door off that hallway. The warehouse, the call center, the office with the terrible fluorescent lights and the pretty good people. You walk in, you work a few years, and one day you leave. You close that door behind you and you keep walking. New badge, new desk, new door. But here's the part nobody explains on your last day. If you had a 401k at that job, it does not come with you. It's not like your phone number. There's no forwarding service for retirement accounts. When you close that door, the account stays behind it, sitting on a table in a dark room with your name on it, waiting for someone to come back. And nobody explains it because your last day is a blur. You're turning in a laptop, signing exit forms, hugging the two people you'll actually miss. Somewhere in that stack of paperwork is a page about your retirement plan options, and you sign it the way you accept terms and conditions without reading a single word of it. So how many doors are we talking about? The Bureau of Labor Statistics says the average American holds about 12.7 jobs over a working life. 12.7. That is a long hallway. If even a handful of those jobs offered a retirement plan, you may have money sitting behind more than one closed door. And the further down the hallway you get, the harder it is to remember which doors even had a table in the first place. This isn't some rare slip-up either. Every single year, about 4 million more accounts get left behind, 4 million new doors closing on money. And every year, about 900,000 people lose track of one entirely. Not, haven't checked in a while. Lost. The mail stops forwarding, the old work email gets shut off, the plan switches to a new company with a new name, and the thread just snaps. Now, maybe you're thinking what Marcus thought. Fine, but these are probably small accounts. Lunch money. A few $100 from a job you barely remember. The average forgotten account holds about $67,000. Let that land for a second. $67,000. That is not pocket change. That's a year of college. That's a down payment in a lot of towns. That's years of groceries in retirement, sitting behind a door somebody closed a decade ago and never thought about again. Back to Marcus. That junk drawer statement made him curious, so one night he sat down and actually counted his doors. 3 old jobs with retirement plans. And in his head, he did what almost everyone does. He rounded them all down to nearly nothing. A couple grand at each one, maybe. Not worth the phone calls. Definitely not worth the hold music. Then he made the calls anyway. The first door was 11 years old, a job he'd left right after his daughter was born, when everything was diapers and no sleep and paperwork was the last thing on his mind. Not a couple grand. The second door was trickier. That company had been bought twice, and the plan had changed hands. But the money had moved right along with it. Still his. Still growing this whole time. The third door was the statement from the drawer. He wrote the 3 balances on the back of an envelope and added them up. Then he added them again, because he did not believe himself the first time. $71,000. Marcus, who had mentally rounded all of it down to zero, had $71,000 scattered behind 3 closed doors. Here's what I want you to take from that. It's not that you have exactly $71,000 out there, maybe you have nothing. But Marcus wasn't wrong because he was careless. He was wrong because forgotten money is invisible money, and your brain rounds invisible things down to zero every time. Now comes the uncomfortable part. Because you might be thinking, okay, so it's sitting there, it's invested, it's fine, where's the fire? The fire is small, and it is patient. When you leave a company, a lot of plans start charging former employees a maintenance fee, a small one, something like $4.55 a month. $4.55, that's a coffee. You would never notice it, which is exactly the problem, because on a forgotten account, nobody is watching. Researchers have estimated that a little fee like that, left to run, can drain about $18,000 from a single account over time. Not because the fee is huge, because every dollar it skims today is a dollar that never gets to compound for the next 20 or 30 years. It's a slow leak in a tire you forgot you owned. And that's the polite version of the damage. The rough version is what happens when a left-behind account is also sitting in the wrong investments, parked in cash, or in some default fund that was chosen for you years ago and never revisited, while the fees keep nibbling. In the worst case, analysts have estimated that leaving an account behind could cost as much as $500,000 in foregone retirement money over the course of a career. Now hear me clearly on that one, could. Worst case. That is the far end of the damage, not the typical story. But even if your version is a tenth of that, it's real money. Bleeding out of a room you forgot you had a key to. And look, I have to come clean here because I'm not narrating this from some mountaintop. I've had more jobs than I can honestly count. Kitchens, retail, offices, gigs that lasted a summer. And a few years ago, I sat down to map out my own retirement picture and realized something embarrassing. I had no idea what happened to the retirement money at about half of them. None. Couldn't have told you the account names, the balances, or whether the money even still existed. So I went digging, old tax forms, old emails, 45 minutes of hold music with a record keeper I'd never heard of. And behind one of my own closed doors, there it was. An account with my name on it, quietly doing its thing. Finding it felt like finding a 20 in an old coat pocket, times about 1,000. So no judgment from me, ever. This video is me handing you the flashlight I wish someone had handed me. Now, before we get to the finding part, there's a trap I need to warn you about. Because the smallest accounts, the exact ones you're most tempted to shrug off, are the ones in the most danger. You'd think your money just waits behind that door forever. Mostly, it does. But under the rules updated by a law called Secure 2.0, if you leave a small balance behind, your old employer doesn't have to keep it. If the account holds less than about $1,000, the plan can simply cash you out. They cut a check and mail it, often to whatever address they have on file, which might be 2 moves ago. And that check isn't a gift, it's a distribution. It gets taxed as income, and if you're under retirement age, you can get hit with a 10% penalty on top. Your retirement money shrunk and shoved through a mail slot you don't live behind anymore. If the balance is between about $1,000 and $7,000, they can't just mail it, but they can force roll it into what's called a safe harbor IRA without your consent. That sounds protective. In practice, these accounts are usually parked in cash-like investments earning close to nothing, with their own fees quietly chewing away. Your money doesn't die there. It just stops growing. A seed moved into a jar in somebody else's basement. And by the way, that $7,000 line is new. It used to be $5,000. It rose to $7,000 in 2024, which means more accounts than ever can be moved without their owners ever saying yes. Only above $7,000 does the account get to stay put in the old plan, invested the way you left it. So notice the upside-down logic of it. The bigger the balance, the safer it sits. The smaller the account, the one you dismissed as a couple grand whatever, The more likely it's already been cashed out, taxed, or parked in a jar. Small doors are the most dangerous doors. Check those first. Okay. Enough about the problem. Let's go get your money. Because here is the single best fact in this entire video. This money is findable, it is legally yours, and no amount of time behind a closed door changes that. Every door in your hallway still opens. Here are 5 ways to open them. Door number 1, and honestly the fastest, call your old employers. HR, or the plan's record keeper if you remember who it was. Whoever sent those statements you kept recycling. Give them your name, your social security number, roughly when you worked there. They can tell you in one call whether an account exists and where it lives now. Yes, there will be hold music. $67,000 is a very good hourly rate for listening to hold music. Door number 2 is brand new, and it's the one I'm most excited about. At the end of 2024, the United States Department of Labor switched on something called the Retirement Savings Lost and Found, a free national database built for exactly this problem. It lives at lostandfound.dol.gov, and you search it with your social security number. One honest caveat, it's young and the data is still filling in. So if you search and find nothing, that is not proof there's nothing. It just means the database hasn't caught up to your doors yet. Check it, then keep going. Door number 3, the National Registry of Unclaimed Retirement Benefits, a site where employers list money they're holding for people they can't find. Free search takes 2 minutes. Door number 4 is a bit wonkier but powerful. The Labor Department's Form 5500 search. Every retirement plan has to file that form with the government every year, and the filings are public. Search your old company's name, and even if the company was bought, renamed, or shut down, the paper trail leads you to whoever administers the plan now. A name and a phone number for a door you thought was bricked over. And door number 5, your state's unclaimed property office. When money truly goes orphaned, it can end up handed over to the state, just sitting in a vault with your name attached. There's a free site called missingmoney.com that searches many states at once. Search every state you've ever lived in, not just this one. 5 doors. 1 afternoon. That's the whole search. A quick tip before you start, gather your ammunition first. Your social security number, the rough years you work each job, the old addresses you lived at back then, and any ancient statement or tax form you can dig out of a drawer, the way Marcus did. Every scrap makes the phone calls faster. So what happens when a door opens and there's actually money on the table? Do not, please, just cash it out. That's the tax and penalty trap all over again, voluntary addition. What you want instead is called a direct rollover. You move the money straight from the old plan into either your current employer's 401k or an IRA you control. Trustee to trustee to trustee. The money travels from one institution to the other and never touches your hands. Done that way, there are no taxes and no penalty. Not a dollar lost in the move. The money just walks out of that dark room, down the hallway, and moves in with you. That's exactly what Marcus did. 3 old accounts, 3 phone calls, a small stack of forms, a few weeks of waiting. He opened one IRA and rolled all 3 balances into it. And I want you to picture the moment it finished. Marcus logging in and seeing, for the first time in his working life, all of his retirement money in one place. One account, one login, one statement. $71,000, finally back under one roof. He told me the strangest part wasn't the money, it was the quiet. That little background hum of, I should really track that stuff down someday, gone. And that's really what this whole thing is. Not a windfall exactly, it was always your money. You earned it at jobs you've half forgotten, in years that feel like somebody else's life. It's been waiting behind those doors the entire time, patient as furniture. Nobody stole it, nobody spent it. The system just never bothered to carry it down the hallway for you, so you walked back and carry it yourself. So here's what I want you to do this week. This week, not someday. Sit down and walk back through your hallway. Write down every job you've ever had, all the way back to the ones that feel too small to matter. Star the ones that offered a retirement plan, and the ones where you honestly can't remember, star those too. 10 minutes and a cup of coffee is enough to make the list. Then start opening doors, 1 phone call, the Lost and Found database, the registry, the Form 5500 trail, your state's unclaimed property. Small balances first because those are the ones on a timer. And whatever you find, even if it's nothing, hear this part. Found money is not a report card. Nobody handed you a manual on your last day at any of those jobs. 900,000 people lose track of an account every single year. This is a design flaw in the system, not a flaw in you. There is no shame anywhere in this story. There's just a hallway and some doors and maybe a table with your name on it. $2.1 trillion is stacked behind America's closed doors right now. The only question that matters is whether a little of it is stacked behind yours. Every one of those doors still opens, and the key has been in your pocket the whole time. The key is your own name. If this video made you think of an old job, even one, go make that call, and then come back and tell me what you found behind the door. And if you want more of this, real money, found and fixed, one story at a time, subscribe and stick around. Because around here, we don't just talk about money, we go get it. Go check your doors. Before you go, here's the whole thing in one breath. Americans have left about $2.1 trillion sitting in roughly 32 million forgotten 401k accounts. That's about 1 in every 4 401k dollars out there. It happens because your 401k doesn't follow you when you change jobs, and you'll hold about 12 jobs in a lifetime. The average forgotten account holds about $67,000. Left alone, it slowly bleeds away to fees and cash defaults, and balances under $7,000 can even get forced out without your say. So, here's the move. Check with your old employers, search the Department of Labor's new Lost and Found database, the National Registry, and your state's unclaimed property site. Then roll whatever you find into one account. This is found money, not a report card. Your name is the key. Go open the doors.